Today we have the pleasure to interview James Krause. He is an experienced UFC fighter and he had the kindness to give us some minutes of his time. So James, thank you very much and welcome to Somos MMA.
No problem at all, man. I'm glad to be here. Thank you guys for working with me.
Oh, it's a pleasure. And tell us, James, how are you? How are you dealing with all this pandemic situation?
I'm a firm believer of adapt and overcome. So like I feel like obviously there's always going to be roadblocks in anything you do. So for me, it's just been just kind of shift and pivot, going to different things. My gym just opened up back up last week, so that's good. But yeah, I mean, if I'm not working on one thing, I'll move to the next. I don't really look at stuff like that. This stuff doesn't get in my way. You know what I mean? I won't allow it. So I just shift and pivot and move on to the next thing that requires my attention. And that's just kind of what I've done. I think it's been great for me, to be honest. I've gotten a lot done. I'm more busy now than I ever have been. So this whole deal has been really good for me. And I think it's a time where everybody kind of slows down and doesn't want to do anything, but I do the opposite. I pick it up a little bit, and actually I pick it up a lot. And this is the time where like real work can be done, real progress can be made within this short amount of time.
And what about training? Are you training normally? How are the things going on over there?
Well, now it's back to normal. But during the quarantine or whatever, I train at least once a day still. There's a benefit to owning your own gym, so that helps. I mean, I have the key, so I can go in and do whatever I want, and yeah, that helps a lot.
James, you in these days you're being more busy training or coaching?
I do both. I still train twice a day, and I coach. I coach the same. I do both, man. This is what I breathe every day, and I pretty much put in call it 12, 13-hour days every day, and this is what I've done. It's what I've done for years. I don't know any other way. You know what I mean? Everybody's asking me how I do it. I just don't know any other way. So it's not crazy for me, and I love it. It's not work, So it's easy to go to work whenever you love what you do.
Right.
James, I'm curious because after your last fight with Trevin Giles, you made an Instagram post talking about a possible conflict of interest because the only judge who scored the first round for Giles used to train with his cornerman Joe Solis. Did you get any answer from Dana or from the UFC about that?
Dana and the UFC don't really care, to be honest with you. They have other stuff to worry about. But through my management is worrying about that through the commission. But with the shutdown, they've all been closed. So I think they told me the other day they're supposed to be hearing something about it. I really don't care. I could give two shits less. I do not care about it at all. It doesn't. Anything that I would want out of the deal is already taken from me. So it doesn't really matter to me. But they want to go through with it. So let them do their thing or whatever. But yeah, anything that I would want out of the deal is already gone. So it doesn't matter to me.
Before the fight, you sign a new contract with the UFC. You would like a revanche against Trevor Giles, or you are looking for another rival?
Oh, in my perfect world, I would do a rematch, but the UFC isn't really big on rematches, and they don't really want me at middleweight, and I don't want to be at middleweight anyway, but I just know I'm better than him, and I can beat him. I got off the couch and beat him. I still thought I won the fight, so in the perfect world, I would fight him, and I would actually have a day to train for the fight, and I honestly think I would beat him pretty easily. I really do, and I'm not just saying that. I really think I would beat him pretty easily, giving up the whole size. I mean, if you guys have watched any of my fights before, I don't get tired in fights. The only reason I lost that fight is I got tired at all, and I still thought I won the fight. So I think I beat him pretty handily if we fight again.
And talking about this, did you put some thoughts into accepting the fight, or you just said, yes, I'm asking because until then you were getting really good results with a 5-win streak.
Yeah.
So how did it happen?
Well, I actually am the one that offered to fight him. So they didn't ask me, I offered. So yeah, I mean, it was a business move for me. I thought it was a great matchup for me too, to be honest with you. I thought it was a good matchup for me. I liked the fight a lot, and I got a new contract out of it. So it was all business for me. I thought it was a great move. I would do it all over again, no problem.
James, I've seen Chael Sonnen after your fight with Giles. I've seen Chael Sonnen saying that you're not only one of the best fighters he's ever seen, but also that you'll be even better as a coach. What does that mean to you?
It actually means a lot to me because I mean, it means a ton to me. Obviously, who it's coming from. You know, Chael's great, so it's that is remarkable to hear him say that. But coaching is more important to me than fighting is, to be honest with you. I really don't have any aspirations to be a world champion fighting. I just don't. It's not something I've ever cared about. I enjoy competing. I enjoy fighting. I think it's something I'm pretty good at, and I pretty much am under the assumption that like I'm just going to take this as far as I can, whatever that means. However, I do want to be a world champion coach. You know, I do want to coach multiple world champions. I want to put my city on the map. I want to put my team on the map, and I want to coach great fighters.
James, talking about coaching, you've been on Anthony Smith's corner on his last fight. What you can tell us about that fight, and if you had some regrets about what happened there?
You know, it's anything that I would have regret is always in hindsight. At the time, the idea never even crossed my mind, and man, I don't necessarily want to get into it a ton. But there, man, nobody knows the sacrifice that these guys go through. Nobody knows the what it takes to get to this level and what it takes to win. And I've seen Anthony been beat up before and him come back and beat people. I've seen him do it multiple times. And first of all, that call is really not my call to make. I'm not his head coach. I was, you know what I mean? That's not my call to make. But even if it was my call to make, I don't think I would have changed much. And I know it's hard to say. And I can tell you guys like, yeah, I would have stopped the fight, you know, but at the time I didn't even think about it, man. It never crossed my mind. Anthony is a warrior. His name is Lionheart for a reason. And I know his code. I know his rule. Him and I we're cut from the same cloth. We know we come from the same place. And I would never, ever want anybody to step in one of my fights. Guys, if you want out of the fight, you can get out of the fight. You know what I mean? Like, if you want out of the fight, you'll find a way out. You can, you know, stick your neck up. And he did that a couple of times. He stuck his neck up and he realized, no, I cannot do this, you know? So, man, like I said, I don't want to dive too deep into it, but the decision is the decision. There's nothing I could do from that going for, you know. The only thing I could do is look forward now. I can't go back and change anything that was done. I can only make adjustments going forward, and I will definitely it'll definitely be in the back of my mind going forward. I don't know if I'll make a different decision or not, but it's something that I'll definitely look at in the future.
And that's talking as a coach and as a fighter. Do you understand Anthony's code and Anthony's decision?
Yeah. Oh God, yeah. We're, like I said, we're cut from the same cloth, bro. We're brought up in the Midwest. Both of us are. We come from a place where you fight every weekend. There was no weight classes when we started. You know, you fought whoever was in front. You fought everybody. It didn't matter. We both have 20, 30 some amateur fights. You know what I mean? Like, both of us have 60, 70 fights, pro and amateur all together. Like, this is not something that we just started last year. You know what I mean? Like, we've been doing this for 15 years, bro. Like, we're cut from the same cloth. So do I understand it? Absolutely. I live by it. Yeah, it's our code. You know what I mean? Absolutely, I do.
James, and now that we are talking as you as a coach and as you as a fighter, how is it like to be a fighter and also a coach? Which are the pros and cons?
Yeah, the pros to me are very, 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 very obvious. So as a benefit to me still fighting, like, I'm able to directly see what is working and what is not working. I don't have to wait and see if it works in a fight from somebody else. I can see immediately right now, does this work or does this not work? And I'm able to apply it myself. And when I go to apply it myself, there's little details that come up that you're like, we got to fix this. There's something off on this because it's not working for me. If it's not working for me, it's probably not working for this guy that has 5 fights as an amateur, you know? So I'm able to make fine-tune adjustments a lot faster than other coaches are because I'm still in the mix. I'm still using the techniques that we're competing with today. The cons of the situation are I have a lot on my plate. You know, I'm still training every day, twice a day. So sometimes I keep the group that I work with small because of that. But, you know, my only complaint would be I could probably focus a little bit on more people, you know, rather than keeping my group small.
James, You fought in a lot of different promotions than UFC. What is the difference between them?
I think just organizationally, obviously the pay, UFC pays way more than anybody else. It's organizationally across the board, the UFC, nobody even comes close. There's guys that are making more money, but they're the 1%, across the board from the lowest paid guy to the highest paid guy. The UFC by far is the best paying organization in the world. The organization of it, when you get there, everything's taken care of, everything's handled. They tell you where you need to be, what time you need to be there, who the point of contacts are. It's just when you get there, there's no worry with the UFC. And with the small organizations, sometimes worrying about how you're going to get to the hotel, sometimes worrying about this extra BS that, you know what I mean? It doesn't. The UFC has all that covered. Like they are on it. They've done this so many times that they are like, they just A, B, C, D. They know it well, and they can accommodate you in any way that you need.
I want to know if you have any rival in your mind. I mean, do you want to fight anyone in the near future?
Yeah, there's a couple different ways that I could approach this, and I think I'm just gonna it's kind of whichever comes first. I really don't care. There's one I can go into like the top 15 because I feel like it's like, hey, you can fight like 13, 14, or 15, and I can start to work my way down the rankings. Like that's one way is I fight a high ranked opponent, whoever. Somebody in there that I like is I love Vicente Luque. I love watching him fight. I think him and I would be fun to watch. I think that would be a blast to watch us fight. And it's nothing but respect on my end from him. I think he's an incredible fighter. I think we match up well together, and that would be a fun fight to watch. The second option would be to fight like some of the legends of the sport that really intrigue me. And to be honest with you, this intrigues me a little bit more than the rankings does, just because I don't care about the titles. I don't care about the rankings. And typically when you're in the top 15, they want you to fight 3 or 4 times a year. And that's just not something I really want to do, to be honest with you. But if you go down the list of like legends of the sport, talking like the Diego Sanchez's, Carlos Condits, the Matt Browns, you know what I mean? Like, and I'm not specifically any of those 3. I'm not calling any of them out. I'm just thinking of names that are like, oh man, that guy is incredible. He's done so much for the sport. Would love to share the ring with him, something like that. So it just kind of depends on which one of those options, comes up first. I like both of them, and I think I'll do well at either one.
James, you talk about the UFC and the page. Recently, Henry Cejudo, he said that he retired and he's gonna do real estate now. What do you recommend to the fighter that besides their UFC career, they made another business or something, another way to make money?
Yeah, you have to, man. You have to. You absolutely have to. I can't stress this enough. And you have to be smart about how you do it. This is one thing that I think I've done just about better than anybody in the UFC. I think I've done a very good job of this. You listen, there in any professional sports, take fighting out of it. This is soccer, football, and I know our football is different from your football. You can pick either one. Basketball, baseball. Yes. You guys, any professional athlete, right? Doesn't matter what sport they're in. The window of opportunity is so small, right? So we have to get in. We have to make money. We have to make that money work for us, and then we're out, right? Because like we're talking like 5 years, 10 years at max of our life, right? So you have to make a lot of money within that time, and then use that money to make it work for you, right? So I'm actually doing real estate. I do a ton of real estate. I have rental properties. I do flips. I have Airbnbs. I do a ton of that stuff. So for Cejudo to say that he's going out and doing real estate, that's incredible. And that's up to him, but I do think you absolutely have to have some transition of income, right? Because, man, I know some of these guys, you wouldn't believe some of the money that these guys are spending. And I'm talking about like real money. Like some of these guys are living on $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 a month budget. And they don't have it. I'm telling you guys, they do not have it. And it's all cash flow. Like whatever they make, they spend. So if they're making $1 million, they're spending $1.1 million. It's just, it doesn't work. It will not work. The second that they blow their knee out or they get cut, it's the money train's gone. And then what? And then what? And then you're stuck with a bunch of bills, and no money. So you have to have something to show. You have to have something to show for all this, the blood, sweat, and tears that you put into professional sports. Great question, by the way.
Well, now that we're talking about this, do you see that the fighters or the athletes maybe are following these things? I mean, do they do these things, or you see that there is a little amount of
No, none of them are doing shit. That's the problem. I would say 5%, 10% at most. And we're talking about the guys that are making like real money, like big money. There's not very many guys that are like middle of the road like me that aren't making. I'm not making superstar money. I make good money, but I'm not making superstar money. But these guys, they're they live off that money. I live off my gym. The gym pays my bills, right? Like the UFC money is extra. This other stuff is extra. So like that's what these guys don't understand is you can't live off this money. You have to have this money to make more money, and that's what they don't get. But to answer your question, no, it's sad. I'm telling you, I can't tell you how many people are going to be done with this sport and they're going to look back on it and they'll be doing this for 10 years and they won't have a damn thing to show for it. And it breaks my heart. This is one of my true passions. This is one of my true passions when I'm done fighting is I want to help fighters understand financial literacy to how to make money within this and then make that money work for you so you're not broke at the end of it all.
James,
so maybe go ahead. But wait a second. Maybe for example the corner move with all the whiskey stuff and all that. You think that's cool to diversify your investments and all that?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. You have to, man. I'm telling you because listen, wealth. There's a difference between rich and wealth. Rich, if you're rich, that's cash flow. That's how much money you have in your bank account, right? And like, if I were to let's just say I make $10,000 to show, $10,000 to win. That is cash flow. That is money going into my bank. Wealth is me taking that $10,000 to show, $10,000 to win, buying a rental property, and then me collecting $500 a month and somebody paying my $1,000 house. Like that's wealth. Wealth is created through somebody else making you money because on this side, on the bank account side, you're making money while you work and you may make damn good money, but as soon as you stop working, the money stops. On wealth, you could sit back and do nothing and it keeps making money. It keeps making money. That's the difference. So with Connor, if Connor stopped fighting today, proper whiskey is going to pay his bills all day, every day. He's wealthy. He's not rich. He's wealthy, right? Like there's a big difference to where some of these other guys, the guys I was telling you about running on $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 a month budgets, they are rich, right? They probably have a few $100,000 in the bank account, but they blow their knee out, can't fight for a year, or if they get cut from the UFC, the money train stops there and they have nothing to show. They have nothing to build on. So that's the difference to me.
We recently have one of your friends, Gaston El Tonga Reino.
Tom, he's the man.
He told that about you. He told us that you teach how to be a professional MMA fighter. That it's not only be on the cage, but it's all is what is around the business. What you can tell us about Tonga and all of that?
Oh, he's a great friend of mine. Good dude, heart of gold. Man, he loves the life, man. He trains. He's a great dude. He loves to travel, loves to be on the beach. That's why he's out in California, man. I couldn't keep him in Kansas City. He hates the weather here. So, great dude. He's smart too. He understands it. What he does is he leverages his name. He has an incredible name built up for himself in that market. Uruguay, Argentina, all that. He has an incredible market over there, right? So, he leverages that well, and right, wrong, and different, like him or not, it's valuable, and he does a great job leveraging that. So, it is what it is. You know what I mean? Like I said, I know some people love him, some people hate him, but he does an incredible job leveraging his name in that area to make money.
Do you think UFC should I don't know, teach their fighting to about business, how to make money besides the octagon and the fight and all the shit?
Yeah, I mean they should, but it's not their responsibility. You know what I mean? Like they have tried before. It is, listen, if you want to know, you'll know. You know what I mean? Like if these guys want to get wealthy, they'll read the books, they'll ask the right questions. But it's not. It's the UFC for them to teach us that is it's cool. It's a bonus, but it's not their duty, obligation, or responsibility to teach us how to manage our money. It's their job to write checks. It's not their job to hold our hand. So is it cool that they do that? Yeah, I think so, but it's not their job. You know what I mean? Like it's not their job at all to teach us how to manage our money correctly. Because to be honest with you, they've done summits and stuff like that, and it's a complete waste of time because half the dudes aren't listening. You know what I mean? You have to want to learn this shit, and that's the thing is most of them don't give a shit.
James, I also want to ask you something, because Gaston also told us that when he met you, you made a kind of a deal. You would teach him how to wrestle, and he will teach you how to kick. But he admitted that he didn't have to teach you much. Is that true?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's, he definitely he's got some tricks up his sleeve. I got a couple things from him that are pretty slick. So yeah, I don't know how much he taught me, but he's got some tricks up his sleeve, you know. So it's he's very if he were a video game, his danger factor could be high, you know what I mean? Because he can finish the fight at any time. In terms of fundamentals, I think I had that part down, but he's got some really good tricks up his sleeve that if you're not savvy with, he can catch you and kick you in the mouth pretty quick. So, but yeah, I did teach him some jiu-jitsu. I did teach him some wrestling. He taught me a couple of his tricks.
Okay, I don't know if you have anyone any other question. Yes, go ahead.
Yes, we'll see on your social network that you like fishing. Is one of your hobbies? Is what do you like to fish? Tell about that.
I guess it is kind of a hobby. I've been going every day. So, I live on a lake just out here, and it's something my daughter and I do. We've found time, we both enjoy doing it. It's something we do together. So I live just, like I said, there's a lake right behind my house. So we just go right on the lake. It's nothing crazy, but yeah, I wouldn't say that I'm like great at it or anything, but I do it a lot, you know. It's not something that if you asked if it was a hobby, I was like, well, no, but I kind of do it every day. So maybe, yeah, it kind of is.
What is your biggest catch?
My daughter actually caught a big catfish the other day, but like, I don't know what kind of fish you guys have where you're at, but like I caught a 3-pound bass, which it's a pretty decent sized bass, you know.
It is a good size.
It's a good sized bass, but she caught a catfish the other day that was bigger than that. On her little kiddie pole that's like this long. The catfish was longer than the damn pole was she caught it on. So there's all kinds of stuff in this lake. It's a big lake. So that bass was probably the biggest one that I've caught in a while.
I live now in Montreal, but you should go to Argentina, to the Patagonia, and fish around there, man.
I've heard, man. I have heard it's crazy. I've heard it's crazy.
For example, in our rivers, we have like 80-90 pounds fish that they're huge. They are like
monster fish.
They're twice my size. I mean, they're huge,
crazy
monsters.
So you can get catfish here. You can get catfish here really big. I just haven't caught them because like you got to do the jugs and shit like that. You got to like lay them out overnight. I'm trying to throw a line in and reel it back. I don't like the real guys, the real fishermen. They catch those catfish. They're like you're talking about. They're big as hell. I don't mess with that stuff. Like I just throw a line out and reel it back in. I don't mess with that. So those guys get into it.
Gracias por visitar Somos MMA en YouTube. No olvides suscribirte a nuestro canal y activar las notificaciones para seguir disfrutando de nuestro contenido.